At the shelter, dozens of dogs barked and wagged their tails, except one. A German shepherd sat in the corner, silently crying, as if he had given up on life. When a young woman reached out to him, she had no idea her life was about to change forever. The smell of disinfectant and damp concrete filled the air as the girl stepped into the small-town animal shelter. Rows of kennels stretched on both sides, each one holding a desperate soul. Dogs of every shape and size barked, jumped, and wagged their tails, all pleading for the same thing: someone to notice them. But amid the chaotic chorus, there was one dog who made no sound. In the farthest corner of the shelter, half hidden in the shadows, sat a German shepherd. His head was lowered, and his dark, soulful eyes glistened with something the girl couldn't ignore: tears. It wasn't the loudness of his cry that caught her attention, it was the silence. The other dogs barked as she walked past, but the shepherd didn't move. He simply stared, as if he had already given up on the idea that anyone would ever love him again. His fur was matted, his paws tucked close, and he seemed smaller than he should have been, as though life itself had weighed him down. The girl felt her heart ache. She had never seen an animal look so defeated. In that silent moment, she realized this dog wasn't just waiting for someone to save him. He was waiting for someone to believe in him. The girl slowly crouched down in front of the kennel, her hands gripping the cold metal bars. "Hey, buddy," she whispered, her voice soft but trembling. The German shepherd's ears flicked, and for the first time, his eyes truly met hers. It was as if the world around them, the barking, the echoing clatter of metal bowls, faded into nothing. She slid her fingers through the bars, unsure if he would retreat or growl, but he didn't. Instead, he hesitated for just a moment, and then pressed his wet nose against her hand. The touch was gentle, hesitant, almost questioning, like he couldn't believe someone cared. A lump formed in her throat as she noticed a tear fall from his eye, leaving a faint trail on his fur. It wasn't a trick of the light. This dog had been crying. His eyes carried the weight of abandonment, the scars of heartbreak only animals and children truly understand. Behind her, a shelter volunteer approached. "That one. He's been here the longest. People say he's broken. No one wants a dog that's given up." The words stung. The girl turned back to the shepherd and whispered, "I want him." And in that moment, she knew she couldn't leave without him. The shelter volunteer hesitated, glancing at the girl as if to confirm she was serious. "Are you sure? He's different. He doesn't play. He barely eats. Most families walk past without even stopping." But the girl didn't look away from the German shepherd's soulful eyes. "I'm sure," she said firmly, her voice carrying a quiet determination. "I don't want a perfect dog. I want him." The paperwork process felt like forever. As the volunteer disappeared into the back office, the girl stayed by the kennel, whispering softly through the bars. "It's okay now. I'm not going to leave you." The shepherd shifted closer, finally resting his head against the cold metal as if he understood her promise. When the door finally swung open, the dog hesitated on the threshold, his paws trembling. His eyes scanned the room, uncertain, as if stepping out meant risking hope again. The girl crouched low, hand extended. "Come on, buddy. You're safe now." Slowly, with a shiver running through his body, the dog took his first step toward freedom. And when his head brushed against her chest for the first time, she felt his heartbeat, fast, scared, but alive. This was the moment everything began to change. The girl led the trembling German shepherd out of the shelter, feeling the weight of his uncertainty in every hesitant step. The sunlight outside seemed to startle him, and he froze for a moment, ears twitching at the distant sound of traffic and children laughing in the park. "It's okay," she whispered, crouching beside him. "This is your new world now." The dog sniffed the fresh air, taking in scents he hadn't known in months. Slowly, he inched forward, letting the leash guide him. Every step was a battle between fear and hope, but the warmth of the girl's hand and her gentle voice pulled him closer to trust. When they reached her car, the shepherd hesitated again, glancing back at the shelter as if to confirm it was really over. The girl opened the door and patted the seat. "Come on, boy. This is where the adventure begins." With one last cautious step, he leaped into the car. The girl smiled, her heart swelling with both relief and protectiveness. For the first time, the shepherd wasn't behind bars. He was going home, though neither of them yet knew the shocking twist that awaited. The girl's home was quiet, filled with the faint scent of lavender and the soft hum of the refrigerator. She gently led the German shepherd inside, his paws hesitant on the polished wooden floor. Every corner seemed foreign to him, every shadow suspicious. He sniffed cautiously, his tail tucked low, yet his eyes followed her every move. She had already prepared a small bed near the fireplace and set down a bowl of fresh water and some warm food. The moment she placed it in front of him, the shepherd hesitated. He glanced at her as if seeking permission, unsure if this gift was truly his. When she nodded, he devoured it, each bite an echo of months spent hungry and forgotten. Later, as the girl curled up on the couch, the shepherd lay near the fire, his head resting on his paws. But his eyes never fully closed. They watched her, slowly softening with trust. At one point, he got up and quietly approached her, laying his head gently on her lap. The girl froze for a second, then smiled through tears. In that fragile moment, the first bond of love and safety began to grow, a bond that would soon face an incredible twist. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the curtains, and the girl awoke to the sound of soft whimpers. The German shepherd wasn't by the fireplace anymore. Panic shot through her, but muffled noise led her to the backyard. There he was, digging furiously near the old oak tree, his paws moving as if driven by instinct. She hesitated, but decided to follow him. Dirt flew into the air as he unearthed something small and metallic. When he finally stopped, the girl gasped. It was a weathered dog tag, rusted and barely legible. Kneeling down, she wiped off the soil and read the faint letters. Max, Service K9. Her heart pounded. This wasn't just any abandoned dog. He was a trained K9, once a protector, now left to suffer alone. Questions raced through her mind. How had a loyal service dog ended up starving and crying in a shelter? As if sensing her confusion, Max trotted over and nudged her hand, whining softly. It was as though he wanted to show her more. And when she followed him toward the old storage shed at the corner of the yard, she had no idea the real shock was waiting just a few steps away. The girl's small hands trembled as she pushed open the creaky storage shed door. Dust swirled in the sunlight, revealing forgotten boxes and rusted tools. Max darted inside, tail wagging but body low, as if he were both excited and nervous. He pawed at a stack of wooden crates in the corner, whining urgently. With a gulp, the girl carefully moved the crates aside. And then, she froze. Nestled in an old, worn blanket were 3 tiny puppies, their eyes barely open, trembling from the cold. Max immediately nuzzled them, his body curling protectively around them. The girl's eyes filled with tears as she realized the truth. Max had been crying for help, not for himself, but for his babies. Overwhelmed with emotion, she whispered, "Oh, you're not alone." She ran to get her parents, who were stunned by the discovery. They quickly brought the puppies inside, wrapping them in warm towels and offering milk. As Max watched his babies safe at last, he let out a low, relieved whimper and rested his head in the little girl's lap. That single moment, the bond between a child and a dog who had trusted her with his family, left everyone in the room wiping away tears.